Hello my darlings and welcome to Rights Respecting Time. Now we are going to be focusing on air pollution. Now we have done some learning about air pollution before, so I hope that you remember some of it. Today's lesson is going to be a little bit of a recap, which means going over some of the things that we've learned before, because it's been a little while since we've done that learning. So there is an activity to do today with your adults. And it is an activity that we have done in class before, so hopefully it will jog your memories. But since we've done it in class, we did a little bit of more learning after we did the activity, so you will hopefully remember some more because you will have learned some more since then. And also it has been a while since that time. It's been weeks and weeks and weeks, so it's good to go back over these things and see what you remember and what you need to expand your knowledge about. So air pollution. What do you know about air pollution? What is air pollution? I wonder what you remember. So there are there are a couple of videos on the bookshelf that will help develop your understanding. Now they are videos that will need some talking through, some discussing with your adults, okay? They are very interesting and they have some of them will be a little bit complicated. They've got some big ideas, but they aren't anything that we haven't talked about in class before. But it just means that they aren't videos that you can watch very quickly and just watch by yourself. They will need to be paused and talked about together. So air pollution. Air pollution is basically when the air, so the air is what is around us all the time. We can't see it because it's not something that's visible, it just is, okay? The air is all around me right now, just like it's all around you. And air pollution is when we get the air dirty. So air should be pretty clean most of the time. It should be in an ideal world, but it's not, because what humans do is, unfortunately, because of lots of the things that we do, we make nature, the natural world, we make it quite dirty through lots of our actions, things like using cars and using factories to make things. So many of the things that we use, okay, all the things around us in our houses, all our technology and our toys, and so many of the things that we just use every day, they have to be made, and lots of them that are made, they are made in factories, and factories, in order to make them run, they use certain things that lots of the time there's something called fossil fuels, and there's something that naturally occur in the world, but really they should just be left alone in the earth. But unfortunately people like to dig them up and burn them, and then we cause lots of pollution to the planet, so we make the air very dirty. And those are a couple of the things that make the air dirty and unclean. And then there are things like when we burn things, so particularly when we burn all of the waste. So we've talked about this quite a bit, how we need to throw less away, we need to recycle more, and even more than that, we need to just make less waste, full stop, okay? But when we do throw things away, a lot of it gets burnt to get rid of it, or it gets dug into big pits in the ground and then left there, which is very bad for the ground. But when it gets burnt, that causes air pollution too. Smoking causes air pollution, just like when the vehicles that we use all the time, every time we jump in a car to go a short distance, that's a lot of air pollution caused unnecessarily. Aeroplanes cause air pollution. When people go and explore space and they zoom up in the rockets, unfortunately, all that, fascinating though it is, that causes air pollution too. There are lots of things that cause air pollution, and there's an activity for you to do today where you can have a go at sorting out what causes air pollution, and you can put it in order. And it's going to go from red, so but big causes of air pollution, things that are amber, so maybe choices that you can make that are in between choices. So maybe things that they're not completely free of air pollution, but they are much better. They are much better choices. And then we have the really green choices, things that are really good for the planet. And for keeping our air clean, because it's not just about the fact that the air gets dirty, and we think of dirty and we think, oh well, we just give it a wash and things like that. the air being dirty and polluted is very bad for us. It's bad for our health. It makes people sick and unhealthy. It makes animals sick, and it makes all of nature sick. All of the plants and the whole planet is getting less healthy because of what we are doing, and it's going to be bad for all of us. Bad for people, bad for the animals, bad for the oceans and the plants, and just all of planet Earth. And unfortunately, if we don't all try and change and get big companies to change, then we are not going to be living in a very healthy world. So today, to start off with, we're going to start with a story, and it's the story of Paddington. So I'm going to read the story of Paddington. It's on my phone, so I'm going to have to look down. And then there are 2 little clips from the film on the top of the bookshelf, and you can talk about comparing the environments that he was in. So the environment where he started off, when he was in deepest, darkest Peru, and he was living in a very natural environment, and then when he moved to London. So you can start by comparing those environments. That's the first activity, and then you can have a little look at the videos, deepen your understanding of what exactly air pollution is and how it's caused, and then you can do the sorting activity. So let's listen to the story. Paddington's story. There was once an explorer from London who visited the green forests of Peru, where he discovered an intelligent species of bear. The explorer became friends with the bear family, Pastuzo, Lucy and their nephew. Alexa, stop! Sorry, that was naughty Alexa. And their nephew, and told them all about London, where he said they would always be welcome. When the explorer leaves Peru, he gives Pastuzo his hat as a gift. Alexa, stop! Alexa is very badly behaved. My goodness. Unlike you, I expect you're all doing super listening. So here is the picture of Paddington. Look, there he is with his hat, with the hat that was gifted. One day, a big earthquake strikes the bear's home. While searching for his uncle, his nephew finds only his hat, and Uncle Pastuzo is presumed dead. Oh no! With nowhere to live, Lucy plans to move into the home for retired bears, and she encourages her nephew to seek a new life in London. Okay, so far we've had Paddington living in Peru, and he's become friends with the explorer. And then when his uncle is maybe dead, oh dear, because there's a big earthquake, that's when the earth really, really shakes. And then his Aunt Lucy, she decides it's time for her to retire, so she'll go to a home for retired bears, and it's time for Paddington to find somewhere else to live. So he's going to go and find a new life in London. As her nephew prepares to depart for London on a ship, he says his last goodbye to his Aunt Lucy and checks he has all the marmalade supplies he needs for his journey. So marmalade. Paddington loves marmalade. Do you know what marmalade is made out of? I think you might find out if you watch the videos. The young bear finally arrives in London, but people are not as friendly as he thought they would be, and he has nowhere to go. The Brown family find him alone at Paddington Station with a label around his neck, which says quite simply, "Please look after this bear. Thank you." The Browns decide to name the small bear Paddington after the station where he was found, and they invite him to live with them. Paddington has never lived in a house before, and there is a lot to learn about his new home in London, which is quite different to the one he left in Peru, so you can definitely talk about that. Paddington quickly becomes part of the family and meets new friends in London. Paddington writes to his beloved Aunt Lucy to let her know he is happy and has found a new home with the Brown family. Right, and there is a lovely picture of Paddington in Peru. Look at that. So quite different living somewhere that looks like that to living in London. So lots to discuss there. Now, let's have a quick little look at the next activity. So, we have got the red, yellow, green light discussion questions. So, what I call it amber, like the traffic lights. So, red means bad for health and the environment. The amber means it helps to reduce pollution for a cleaner environment. So it's not totally pollution free, but it's definitely a better choice. And green means makes me healthy and helps the environment. So what are things that we can do that are better, not just better for the environment, but are actively positive for the environment, that make the environment that we live in better and healthier? So then we've got lots of pictures that I've put there. So we've got lots of different pictures that you will see on the slides, okay? So we've got things like taking the bus, walking to the shops, recycling, parks with trees, electric cars, fires, traffic, industry. So that's like making things in factories. So remember what I talked about. Petrol stations, wind energy. So wind energy is a new way of having energy to make things work. So when we want things to be working around in our houses and our offices and all the places where we stay and work and live, we need sources of energy to make things work. And we need to have cleaner, greener sources of that energy. And one of those sources that we can use now is wind energy. There are a couple of others as well that we'll learn about in the weeks to come, but one of them is wind energy. There's also doing a car share, taking the train, there's burning rubbish, and there's having a coal power station. And coal is a fossil fuel that should really be left alone. So have some conversations with your adults, okay? Talk about Paddington, his home, where he came from, where he moved to, the differences between them. Watch the videos, have a little talk. You don't have to watch both videos one after the other. Maybe pick one, maybe come back to the other later. Otherwise, it might be all a bit much at once, but it's up to you. And then do the activity. And I can't wait to hear how you got on with the sorting, on what your thoughts are on what you know about the environment so far, because it'll be good to know what everybody remembers to see how we can move forward. So off you go. And I apologise for Alexa because that was very cheeky of her. Okay, you never can have a lesson without an interruption, really. It's just like our normal lesson. Somebody's always coming in. Bye for now, my darlings.